All right, everybody, here we go. Yeah. All right, man, this is going to be off the hook. I had to come out of the cannon like a shot. As always, man, doing the thing I do. Everybody, are you ready to do it with the big dude, man? I'm feeling really, really good, right in my element, man. All the work, all your love, all your power, man. I'm going to get it right now. I couldn't have worked any harder. If I fall flat on my face and fail this season, it ain't for lack of trying, man. It would mean going back to the drawing board because, I work pretty hard on the process. Welcome back to the FTN Network. I got the grizzle going. What's up, everybody? It's Big Johnny Stud, Brooklyn, New York. 2021, let's do it, baby. I am ready to rock. I'm ready to roll. Man, I'm ready to grow. Coming out the hole, man. I'm a poet. If you didn't know it, I'm really feeling super loose. I mean, it's time. You know what I mean? It's time. I go from fantasy into betting, and that's like, the computer, the spreadsheets into, all right, it's time to get in the arena. It's time to strap up. I'm like Rambo right now. I'm tying the band, and I got the bow and arrow. It's in pieces, and I am just shaking in my chair, and I'm ready to rock and roll. All right, here's what we're doing here today, ladies and gentlemen. Man, it's a pretty tall task. I don't know if I can handle it, but I don't have to. So, we'll do the very best that we can, which is usually what I'm good for. So I have spent the last month or 2 months pretty much nitpicking all of my best friends and analysts draft, choices and rosters nonstop, doing it unapologetically. I try and be objective. They all know it's, most of the time they end up agreeing with me. I usually bring, analysis and numbers to my argument. That being said, I'm still criticizing people and not taking any myself because I'm not in these drafts. Though I was in the Battle of the Pod draft. That one maybe is a little bit different. Okay, so I'm going to be the center today. I'm going to be the focus. And for the person that put me up to this, I see you. And I don't know if you're watching live, but I do know that you're going to catch it. This bad boy is for you, kiddo. This is for you because, well, you know what? You said I couldn't do it. And I told you I could cover a whole baseball game by myself. And you said I couldn't do that. So I'm going to show you who could get on the air and rock and roll for 3 hours without a teleprompter, my friend. So the big guy is on the clock today. You see the draft count, the clock kicking down. We're down to about 2 minutes. I just wanted to explain what's going on before it gets hot, before it gets heavy. I might switch over to the draft board as a visual. I'll spare you the ugly mug. I could put on the Coke bottle glasses and, you not see me nervous. But that's not really my style. This is going to be a lot of fun. Draft Champions, in case you didn't know, hosted by the NFBC, the best in the business where the high-stakes players go. I am not in the main event this year. I'll probably be playing next year. It's very hard for me to play in-season fantasy. People that follow my work kind of know this. But in order to stay on top of baseball 12 months a year, I'm a professional handicapper, and the algorithm really eats up a lot of my time. Aside from that, my one day off is Sunday. I'm with my family. And fab happens, your waiver picks happen on Sunday. It really just doesn't work for me. I'm a bit of a control freak. It's been hard for me to share. Long story short, I'm trying to partner with somebody. So this year to see if it works. And then if it works, I'm ready to go. It's not really the money. I just need to make sure that I can get my game behind it. And so far it looks pretty good. I'm pretty excited. So I should be part of it next year. But this year I'm not part of the main event. So I can share state secrets all the way up to the very end because I don't play much season long. Like I'm saying, most of my fantasy chips are already down. I'm a big best ball guy. I'm a big Draft Champions guy, and I like drafting holds over Fantrax. Props to them too. None of these guys pay me, although if you'd like to, I've been told I could sell ice to Canadians. All right, I was going to say something else, but okay. Here we go. Let's go. 5 seconds. Kicking it down. 4, 3, 2, 1. Ski. Ding, 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 ding. All right. Here we go. I am in the middle, and I chose that. I'm always on the wheel, and your teams end up very similar. So I had a feeling that I was going to live stream this as we were getting closer, and it's pretty exciting. So I figured if I'm in the middle, because I'm going to be streaming and it is pretty tough, I'm going to try and carry analysis throughout this entire thing. Who knows if this is actually going to work or not. But I am going to give it the old college try, like I said. So me knowing that this draft is probably be coming at me really hot and heavy, I'd rather not have to do the 30-pick look ahead from the wheel, which I generally don't mind, but it does take some research. Some people think that wheel play means falling asleep at the wheel. There's a little wordplay for you. All right, what does the draft look like? Acuna 1, Tatis, Soto, Betts, DeGrom. I really don't care. At the 9, I pretty much assume all those guys are going to be gone. Anyway, people that I do like at the 9. Here we go, everybody. I told you that I could carry this thing, my man. And yeah, we'll show you a little bit of insight, I guess. And I think there was always a couple routes that we could go, right? So it depends. I give you the lawyer answer. But I think some probably better than others, especially depending what kind of look ahead you have, what kind of ability you have to kind of read that board later on. And what I'm getting at is picking a player that maybe specializes opposed from offering the full categorical contributions. Because, if you take a player like Jose Ramirez, he's one of my favorite first rounders. I just may take him. He did not get picked. Mike Trout, who I was actually kind of getting at, or I thought was going to fall to me, that I was looking for, fell. And you know what? Everybody, listen, I guess, I kind of thought I was going to come out, maybe shock, and maybe do something a little bit different. I'm not going to do that. I'm a conservative player. I want to win this thing. I'd love nothing more than look back and say, like, I won a league that I live streamed, let alone, the overall. So I'm on the clock, 60 seconds. I fret not, because I know I like J-Ram. He's going to give you everything that you want. Not only do you get all the categories, let's draft him, and we do, but he's the only third baseman that does that. So Ramirez, in particular, has a very clear path for me to not only return first-round value, but to be the number one overall player, in the entire league because of the disproportionate weighting given to Steele. So I'm hearing a little bit of streams. I put it out there on Twitter and see if anybody maybe wanted to think about hopping on with me. And I got maybe another FTN guy, maybe get a little surprise, get somebody up in the building. Bieber went after me. Again, yeah. Let me just tweet out real quick that we are live. This should really be a lot of fun. I'm really hoping it's going to be. So let's get the quote tweet going, and then we are just going to dive right into this draft full on for the next couple hours, as long as I can go. And it should be a lot of fun. Whether or not people go live, like I said, this is for somebody special, you out there. Oh, of course, I tweeted that we're live, but in today's day and age, if you don't put the actual link, you kind of look like a dummy. So let me take that down. Already kind of falling on my face. That's okay. I wear these things on my sleeve. One of my favorite things about being me is, for all the hate that I get when people come at me, it's usually when you make mistakes, and I'll be the first one to point them out. I'll be the first one to correct them, nor do I care, about people pointing out mistakes. What's funny is that's how I know people are backwards, when they do things in spite that they should be doing anyway. Pointing out flaws is something good people do. How much do you love somebody if you're watching them spiral and you're not helping them correct? So, all right, a little bit of Tony Robbins there already in the first round. So we're getting to the end of that first round. Let me take you after I went at J-Ram, went Bieber, Yelich, Bauer, and Freeman. Let's do a little bit on Christian Yelich, who I think is the most polarizing player in the first round. And I think the industry agrees with me, right? Because if they didn't, then he'd be going in the top 5, right? It's pretty clear. It's not even on belief, and you can include what some people are seeing as not the best 2020. But in reality, when you combine all the stats back to 2019, he's like a top 3 overall player because you've got steals. And anybody that hadn't seen, I did a statistical deep dive. I put the top outfield tiers through a objective template, to do some comparative analysis. And Christian Yelich is a phenomenal player. He also has a pathway to the number 1 overall player. My problem with him is I don't think it's as clear, and it's not production. It has to do with health. Back to the polarizing thing. It's not, I don't think many people are arguing the production if he stays on the field, but enough people are worried about the stay power, let's say, that he's fallen what was to like 14, 15, which now is corrected a bit, right? I often say on Corked Stats, if you never caught my show, make sure you do. Subscribe, rate it. It's been pretty good. I handle the stuff alone, and I don't know. You got to do everything a little bit differently. I feel like I'm doing it differently. I'm trying to do the things that I like for other people. We're really, I don't really just pass off any problems. I really try and get to the heart of them, and almost, especially if I don't understand them, that's kind of one of my things. So, okay, my link is copied. Yeah, this entire time I've been trying to juggle this thing. I'm not the tech guy, really, so kills me a little bit sometimes learning how to do this stuff on the fly, which is another reason I like to do this. And I make mistakes when I do it, and it happens, So kind of so be it. Like I said, I wear it on my sleeve. I'm almost done, people. I promise you I'm going to put this stupid phone down. That's another one. If we get really bored, we could talk about how much we hate our cell phones and how bad they are. Put them down. Talk to your family. Talk to your friends. Talk to your pets even is better than these stupid things sometimes. Especially me, I work on it. So it's just never ending. So because I work on it, I try not to play on it, I should say. Okay, the final thing is sent. I hate you, phone. I'm putting you away. Goodbye. Turning you off. Don't care. I'm just going to keep it close so I see the light in case my wonderful, beautiful, smoking hot wife calls. Okay, here we go. Let's get down and dirty, people. I'm on deck. And again, if you notice, I really wasn't stressing. And because I didn't get my YOLO pick in the first round, I'm going to get my YOLO pick in the second round. I'm going to try and upset some apple carts while I do it. And I mentioned J-Ram having a path to the number one overall player because of the steals, but he can also hit you 32, 35 home runs, not out of the question. So with average, so you're not really sacrificing anything. And when you think YOLO, and I think YOLO, I think about Adalberto YOLO Mondesi. We're doing it big, everybody. We're playing for the overall right now. This is a league for 15. They got a pretty nice hit on, but I'm playing for it all. I want to stir the pot. And again, I am a volume player. Like you saw me in the first round, I had to fall back on my laurels, and I kind of choked it up and took the player that I love undisputedly above the rest, which is J-Ram. So now I want a team that looks totally different than any other ones that I have, and that would mean drafting Mondesi, which I just did. So I also accomplished something that I really like also, which is drafting from the interior. Outfield is especially deep. Of course, there being 3 outfield positions, we not having to specify position, specific position, and generalize outfield. You can have 5 right fielders, no one is counting. I think it's especially important to lock up those infield positions because though, you know what? Let's talk about shortstop since I got mine. Let's do that. And before we do that, let's spin a little bowl, people. I was told by somewhat of a mentor of mine who's in media, who told me when you get on the air, it's not to say you want to repeat yourself, but you kind of got to play the classics. You want to speak to people as if they've never heard you before, but also as if they're always following your stuff, that gentle balance. So I like to be relatable and speak to people, but again, at the same time, there are newbies out there, and I want them to know what's going on. So if you ever hear me say, hold on, we're going to spin a bowl on that, I'm referring to a performer. His name was Eric Bren, and he was on the Ed Sullivan Show and all these kind of variety shows, and then on the Gong Show, but a couple of versions of that as well. And, we spin these bowls and plates on sticks while the carnival music's playing. And why does that matter, you crazy person yelling about this stuff right now? And I'll tell you, it matters because those bowls are a good representation for a complex thought. It's a good analogy. The bowl is a thought, and as long as you get back to it in time and it doesn't fall off the stick, you can kind of keep it relevant. And the more of those that you can do that to, the more complex of a thought that you can start to build. And I feel like that's really where teaching happens, and I think that's always been part of my charm. So the bowl spinning, I guess, was a bowl spinning. But now that bowl has spun, let's spin a new one, and it's on shortstops, which I locked up. I mentioned wanting to lock up the interior. But I want to get to the depth and the tiers of shortstop as well. It's thought of, shortstop, I should say. Shortstop is thought of as this incredibly deep position, and I think there might be an argument a little bit for another day. It might be an argument for another round, see if I run out of gas or not. But, yeah, this is 50 rounds, so I don't think anyone's ever done that. The challenge wasn't 50 rounds, but, I was kind of thought I could, and now I'm like 2 in and I'm like 3 in. What kind of crazy person would do that? So back to shortstops, though they are deep, it's really focused at the top. It's almost hyper-focused at the top. And that matters. So you got to be wary of that. If there are a lot of elite players, it kind of makes sense if one of your first thoughts is, I can wait, right? That kind of makes sense. There's a lot of really great players, so I can wait on that. Makes sense. But if there's kind of this precipitous drop-off, like I feel there is in shortstop, generally, for me, we'll probably talk about it when it gets there, but it's really like a Baez, let's say, Baez-Torres. When we get there, I'll probably break that up. But there's this tremendous drop-off, just tremendous drop-off in high-skill shortstops. And without one, then I feel you're behind the pack. So it's not to say they're a game of chicken, because if you're going back to Baez, he spans back pretty far. But it has to be something that's on your mind the entire time. And why not? Not saying why not get out of the way, like, oh, why not? But when you can make a run at an overall and lock up that position, that's like a big win for me. Last thing on Mondesi, because soon these guys will be totally in the rear view as we really dig on deep through the player pool, is me being a volume player, liking to get exposure to all the different interesting players, especially the ones that can win you leagues, and more so overalls. That's where I was going. Being probably too conservative, right? I don't mind self-auditing. If anything, I'm probably too conservative. When you're a volume player, that kind of creates this inherent issue, right? Because you always want to play it safe, but you're playing in high volumes. So as much as you may love J-Ram, you can't take him every single draft. Because if he goes down or meets, the lowest projections, which, I think there's almost no situation where he's not awesome other than health, but even health, he goes down. You don't want to sink that many boats because you only need to win so many leagues to cover your investment. You always want this to be profitable, even when we're shooting the moon trying to win. So I'm not going to try and paper over how I'm going to play today. It's like, oh, it was just YOLOing. No, it's not it. But there is an element of keeping the overall in mind. And, I wouldn't have taken a Mondesi there. Again, I'm more of a, Trey Turner, or I would have taken Story at 9, let's say, if I hadn't taken J-Ram. Story would have been in my diversity. So I'm going to clock a couple of ancient guys again. I think I know who I like. And man, it's Tucker or it's Luis Robert for me here. And me being the batting average guy, I just think Tucker has the higher upside. I think there's a little more experience. And I think Tucker really has a pathway to returning equal value here, which can be tough with these third round picks. So we're gonna go Kyle Tucker, and you've noticed there were 3 picks in, and I haven't drafted a pitcher, and I'm like, yes, because now that is a little different for me. I would almost always have a pitcher in the first 3 rounds. In fact, I might not have a team that doesn't have a pitcher in the first round. So I'm really excited to be taking a different path. And for new players out there, right, don't marry yourself to the singular. And now when it comes down to a main event, now that's a little bit different. And I think in a main event, I think I do have a pitcher in the first 3. I don't subscribe to needing 2 in the first 2 rounds. Pocket aces can work like many other smart strategies. I don't dislike it. I generally don't go that way. I worried about the injuries, and past performance is something. It doesn't guarantee, it's not a total indication of future performance, but I've been good in my past at identifying late pitchers that produce. So, I don't find I have to overly pay up. But again, you see, I'm not being arrogant now. Oh, I find enough late pitching. I don't draft pitchers early. I like a little bit of everything. I'm really conservative. That comes from a background in Wall Street, being humbled by the market many, many times. You end up learning that that's the thing to avoid, rather than trying to win sometimes. Not to say of just avoiding losses. It's giving yourself a sustainable plan that avoids big losses. And, that bleeds over into my handicapping. So you stick with me. It's really always about making money. Okay, we're going to be up in about 10 picks, and now I'm talking about it a little bit earlier than I had. The first three, I had an idea what I wanted. I knew I wanted to kind of go crazy. I would have even went Mike Trout in that first one because I think Trout plus Mondesi is a pretty crazy start to an overall. I love Mike Trout. Again, back to that outfield article. I mean, it's free, people, so you don't have to just get the info here. Like 90% of the draft kit is free, and like 95% of that is mine. I put a lot of pride and a lot of effort into this draft kit. It's at ftnfantasy.com. It's on my Twitter feed. Chris Meany's tweeted it out. He did a great job for me. Thank you, Chris. Hat tip to you, my man. Hat tip to everybody at FTN. Everyone's so good there. And they kind of let me, let my freak flag fly, which I guess is exactly what I'm doing now. No one would make me do this. You can't make me do this. I do stuff because I want to. Back to the very front, that love, that passion, that power is mine. And I don't care what anybody thinks, I like when people push up against me, to be honest, because it means I'm doing something right. I'm doing something edgy. You got to ruffle some feathers if you want to be great. All right, let's look at this board before this turns into another lecture. I like to let it run a couple picks, and we can kind of talk about it as it develops. I chose Tucker. Glasnow had gone before me, by the way. Anderson, Merrifield, Ozuna, and Arenado. Love Ozuna. Holds up to all scrutiny. All right, now I'm 8 picks away. And now I think let's look at the pitching landscape. There are a couple hitters I still love, but I think now it's probably time to get guys that we think can fill in for us. Man, it's tough. Here we go, people. Here we go. The big guy's decision. And these are the things that I hit on people for, and this will be the stuff that people could drop me. And as one of the guys I was talking about, he just went, was Kenta Maeda. I was going to say, here we go. Conservative versus YOLO. Is it Kenta Maeda / Lance Lynn, or is it Corbin Burns? That's the big time chance at the top overall return. And probably more so with the uncertainty to innings pitched. Corbin Burns, being so effective on a per inning basis, has a really good chance of, being that top guy because of the, closing of the equity gap, let's say. So I'm kind of looking at him. I'm kind of also setting a bad example, people. Usually I advise people 5 or 6 picks out to start getting your queue ready. I haven't done that, but I knew where I was going to go. Not to be arrogant, sorry to everybody. I'm going to try and be cleaner and practice what I preach. Listen, we always should be doing these things. Sometimes you do that in trading, or alerts are not fully there, or we don't have a hard stop set. That kind of stuff happens. Man, Luis Robert has fallen down to 50. He's sexy. Imagine adding him to this team. It almost seems like too much. I might have to take him. But, man, if Burns is there, I think I'm going to go Burns. I like Lynn. But how about this? Let's drop Lynn because I think we can find that, okay? The inning's going to be there. The quantity's going to be there. But I think we're going to pound pitching if Robert falls. I'm going to give Robert benefit of the doubt. And if not, maybe it's Bregman. And then I think it's Vlad Jr., somebody who I don't have anywhere, and I think is a really interesting pick. These will probably be a couple of them. Wow, it's going to be interesting. I really have to get my ducks in a row. We're 3 away, so I should be down to 3 names, people. That's good practice, right? Make the decision real. As the picking off the board, so should one of mine. Bregman should be the easy one here. I like him. He was banged up. I think he'll be fine, but I already have a third baseman. Luis Robert goes. Someone else couldn't stomach that either. I'm down to my 2, and there, people, I feel like is a very good way to have your decisions made. And there goes Vlad. Like I said, those guys in order. I'm going to get the pitcher I want. And I think Burns is certainly an SP1. I see the board. I see Snell. I'm worried a bit about the distance. I'm worried more when it's close with Burns about the environment. I have been the low man on these moves to the NL West. I'm particularly worried about facing the Dodgers and facing the Rockies in Colorado, but I don't want to face the Dodgers ever. Like I said, I am a professional handicapper. You're probably not going to be the favorite on the road. So let's draft Burns here. Bingity bang boom. I mean, this team is feeling really strong. I hate to use the overly simplistic baller method, but I just enacted the baller method a bit also. Again, this stuff works more in overalls, excuse me, or in 12-man leagues, I should say, or like point leagues where the rate of replacement in the waiver wire is much higher. So you can kind of shoot high, and if they fail you, you're going to replace them. Now, this is a DC, and for those unfamiliar, maybe I should have set it up better before. 15 teams, 50 rounds, 0, yes, that's right, 0.0. Adding, trading, waivers, anything. Nothing. There's 0. But it's 50 rounds. So it's as fair as can be. Fair as can be. The rules are set. The stage is set. The rules are the same for everyone. But you've got to build a team that's meant to be producing 6 months from now and cover roto categories. As if, like, points is a little different again because everything gets boiled down to a singular currency, let's say. And you could just, 12 is more than 11. 11 is more than 9, and it kind of works its way down, and it's pretty easy to make those decisions. When it comes to roto, it becomes more difficult. And, hat tip to the brilliant guys that have kind of combined this stuff. Rudy Gamble was on my show. And, he's brilliant, dude. And they kind of have the player rater. But I think even he'll tell you that you have to be careful because these things don't happen in a vacuum. Generally, there's other circumstances going on. Oh, I'm sorry, I dropped something. Generally, there's other circumstances going on that you have to account for. That make it just makes it hard to compare. It's apples and oranges, and you have to be good at comparing apples and oranges. One of the beauty of the roto game. Wow, funny. I mentioned the shortstop shelf before, and where it was Baez, and his ADP was like 69, and I've been seeing him going around Torres. Torres already went at 57. I love Torres, and I'm glad I have him already because the price is going up. He's a smash player. He's really good. The context couldn't be better. I mean, he's just an excellent player. First closer goes, right? Marcelo Iglesias did a couple closers go. I wasn't paying attention as I should have been to the board. When I'm ready to take closers, I'm kind of start looking. I know I'm not taking them with my first 4 picks. So when I hit pick 5, which I'm about to, which is what I just did, which is look at the closer scene and see what's going on. So the top guys are all gone. So be it. That's fine. That probably explains some of why I like the guys I got so much, right? Sometimes you got to take from Peter to pay Paul. Let's see. Saves, everybody. Keep them on the front of your mind. That's where this game is different, right? I said no ads. I generally like to add saves. I either try and add, 8th inning high impact guys. Again, I have my magnifying glass on every single game during the year. So sometimes you see that big reliever, he may break your heart, he may save your day and your bet or whatever. And then you go kind of look into him and then, try and stay ahead of it when those guys only cost you $1 or they're, afterthought waiver ads before they get the first save and everybody's on them. You got to get them first. And not just talking that smack. I did it in TGFBI, which, say what you want about money or not, is a competitive league, especially in regards to saves. And yeah, I kind of smashed it. It's something I'm good at because of the circumstances, whatever. It's a good strategy. I think it doesn't always hit, but it doesn't cost you a lot. So you can kind of operate like that freely and not have to worry so much about consequences. So I like that, consequence-free strategy. So now we're up in 5 picks. And I'm going to have to put saves to the front here. I don't even know if it's going to make it, to be honest. Then we kind of have another discussion. Edwin Diaz being the player I was mentioning, right? So I'm going to put Diaz definitely goes in the queue. If he falls, he's an auto take. He's one of the candidates to get 30-something saves in this league. It's hard to get that. It's going to take other people at least 2 picks, maybe 3, to get that projection. So I think Diaz is a slam, which is fine. It'd be funny if anyone else is like listening to this, they snab him first. Won't matter, people. You could snipe me all day. Like, I'm used to playing with good people. I'm used to not being rattled. Doesn't matter to me. Okay. Back to the board. Carrasco's up top. You got to avoid him like the plague. Arozarena is out there. Grisham's is out there. It's telling me the market's starting to get down in these kind of youngsters. Now, I feel like I have the better versions of these players, Marte being off the board, though I maybe with a dead boy, you got to worry about those homers. But Arozarena hasn't looked good in spring, and I think the same people that boosted him up too soon might be punishing him. They might be punishing him too soon for punishing him too soon. So like, whatever. That's the problem with overreacting. I like Arozarena. I think he's going to produce. He just went off the board, so Garcia's not listening. But which is fine. He's a fine pick, man. It really is. He's a fine pick. I think it'll be good. The consensus is good. The ballparks in the division are good. But there's just a chance, that we see glimpses of it being bad, right? So I always try and be realistic. I think this would be good. Okay, if I don't get Diaz, I'm about to get sniped because, again, I wasn't ready. This is moving kind of fast. Players that I love. We go by position. I'm looking to try to set up. I want to do things a little bit different. Now, for me, first base is deep. There goes Grisham. So I guess they weren't willing to wait that long. Second base is not that deep. And I really like Brandon Lau. So I think I might go that route. I really don't have a lot of him. And he's kind of a beast. And I think it feels good to lock up 2B, and on top of it, Lau is also outfield eligible. So whenever we're playing draft champions, I don't like to overdo. I don't have a quantifiable boost that I give to people with multi-eligibility, but you can't ignore it. That would be ridiculous. And you can't ding them for it, right? That would also be ridiculous. So I think if anything, it's a really good way to settle it. Although I kind of like them apples to apples, and the rest is just gravy. Man, this is tough, but I did say Diaz, people, right? We're going to stick to our guns. I'm going to go Diaz here and lock up those saves. Lau in the queue for that next swing around pick, thinking about other 2Bs that I like. I've been hearing people down in Ketel Marte, and, that's fine, right? I need other people to not like somebody so I don't have to pay full price for everybody. I don't like Hero because of the strikeout tool. And, man, I forget, hosting and drafting at the same time, very difficult to, trying to do any research here. But, that's kind of fine, too. You know what? Maybe a good way. Let's pop on over. I want to get this auction calculator out. You people, let's get a look into the mind. Bit of madness, something that I've been trying to incorporate more myself because it's not a tool that I had been using, and now it is a tool that I'm using, and I find it extremely helpful for perspective. So I had mentioned second base and me wanting to fill it in. I always going to expect my pick is going to be taken. If Lau is there, we're going to nab him, but I don't know if he's going to be. So I'm going to head over to the auction calculator to kind of get an idea of this 2B landscape. All right, let's go. Now, like I said, I like Ketel Marte. Find somebody that loves you as much as Derek Hardy loves Ketel Marte. And why? Ketel Marte is the top earner at second base, $23.30 by the BatX projections. Next is Jose Altuve at $21.9. Doesn't sound like a lot, but listen, man, that $1.40 on $23, like 5%. So it is a lot. When the next person's 20, then down to 16.4. So if you subscribe to Derek's work, and I don't, not just physically, although you probably should. He's really brilliant. He was a fantastic guest. And if you haven't heard him on Cork Stats, Google the Cork Stats episode with projections. So if you're down with Cardi D like I am, then you're okay with Ketel Marte and Jose Altuve. Ketel Marte just went 73. I wonder if that person's listening to the stream. If you are, props to you, my friend. It's all good. People love him. Also 74 where he went, 82 where I want him. It's a little bit of a difference. So we're going to go back to the drawing board here. Teoscar Hernandez goes. I'm glad to have avoided that. Now, I know that I love Nick Castellanos because I think that we could see a return of batting average. I'm sorry, back to that bowl with the second baseman. So Ketel Marte being gone, but he does have Jose Altuve up above all the other high earners, above Albies, above LeMahieu. He also likes Moustakas. So I'm going to look to focus on those guys. Those are going to be the guys that I'm going to focus on. Let's catch you back up after I went. Lau went right after I took Diaz. I wonder if we have any more listeners, which would be funny, right? Suarez and Barrios, Marte, Hendricks, Teoscar Hernandez, and Karinchak. Now, I even like this challenge of I should have challenged people to listen, and I'll announce my draft. Like, you could be in the war room with me, and I'm still going to look to play to win. And I still think I'm going to have every shot at doing just that, boys and girls. So far, how my team looking so far? Excuse me. Started with J-Ram. You're getting everything. Followed up with Mondesi. Listen, he's been a 265 hitter the last couple of years, and the rate at which he steals bases is amazing. That he can be a first-round player even if he misses half the season. Not many people who could say that. So hopefully he'll come out and steal 20 bases in the first month or something and just justify all the picks. Castellanos went my boy with Jordan Alvarez. So the potential power guy is starting to get picked up. Somebody else I really like, Austin Meadows. He's dropped. I like last year's trash. Dane Speeds, probably not listening, but do like Dane Speeds. Always talks about that. Back to that second base market. Altuve is there, and I think that's my pick for right now. In real time, what am I thinking about is kind of the lineup placement. So when you think about lineup placement in spring training right now, you really got to be thinking my good friend Mike Curlin, right? If you're not hip to Mike Curlin, Kurland, follow him up on Twitter. And the work he's doing with these spring training lineups, track him every day, is pretty phenomenal. I see this week Jose Altuve leading off every single day that he's playing. Okay, I mean, like that kind of solved it for me. I said I wanted my second baseman. I wanted a guy that was going to return value from the pack. Check my auction calculator. Little bit of position scarcity. I like second base, but not as much as I like these top tier guys. So for me, the decision is made. It's Jose Altuve leading off for a very dangerous Astros team. I think you're going to get batting average. You should get all the counting stats you can handle. Even if homers and steals are a bit lower, I always think there's going to be a little bit of a bounce there. I don't think we're going to see repeats of the best seasons. That I don't think is going to happen. I wanted to quote that Bat X projection. Derek has him for batting 280, 22, and 14 with 92 and 83. I mean, listen, that feels pretty good. A guy that just plays every single day is on a good team like that. And if he's healthy, he's gonna run. So I think that feels okay. Even if he's a bit lower than that, he still should return for the cost. So let's recap my team after this sip. Quick drink. I'll mute you for. Yeah, I didn't want you to hear that terribleness. There goes Yoel Moncada, 85, a player I'd been targeting late. So people, here you go, asking why. It's funny, I mentioned this on Cork Stats, the ADP episode, taking the listener question about ADP and how to use it. So if by all intents and purposes right now, ADP is completely out the window. To me, I'm ignoring ADP. I'm just using it as a player list, to be frank, because people are jumping it. If they see the position as the thing they need to fill, they're not worried about ADP. So it's a lens thing. It's a perspective thing that you're going to miss out on. If you thought you were waiting another 20 picks for Yoel Moncada, he's gone. So, like I said, I like Austin Meadows. We got him queued up. Let's recap the team again. Sorry. I get, Squirrel, Jose Ramirez to Alberto Mondesi, I should say. I'm sorry, Mr. Mondesi. To Kyle Tucker in the third. Again, hopefully to get a bit of everything. That should be everything. He could give you 5 categories. Batting average, might not be great, but it's not. It's certainly not impossible for a player like Kyle Tucker. I think the career arc is really yet to be determined. He's only 24 years old. He hit for a very high average in the minor leagues, and we've seen 266, 269, 268. From him the last 2 seasons. 2019 was 2 stops, AAA and the Astros. So 270 should be out of the question. The projection systems are very varied on him. Fangraphs has him at 268, the bat down at 248. So if you're going to subscribe to Derek, for one thing, you got to at least give it the credence for the next. So I'm okay understanding that maybe Kyle Tucker has a lower batting average than I was hoping for. But I think the other guys will pick him up because I think Mondesi is going to give you 260. He just always does. So until he doesn't, I'm okay with that. And, heaven forbid he finds some discipline, he could be more dangerous. Altuve, again, average. Ramirez, average. So if Tucker gives it to you, I should be good. And we're slowly building across all the categories. The calculator is running on the side. Pitching side, Corbin Burnes, Edwin Diaz, lots of skill. But I think that's a place we need to go. So as much as I may like some hitters that fall sometimes, it's time to look to the pitching pool. I like Plesac, Dave, and I like Wheeler. But the guy I'm looking at right now is Chris Paddock. I was a tremendous Paddock guy. And, man, a lot of smart people are telling me they're into the changes that he made. That they're tangible. He addressed it. He worked at it. And then apparently corrected it. So last year, people saw the 4.73 ERA, 5 FIP, but the XFIP was 3.77. Sierra at 3.91. OBP was good down at 3.02 with the okay whip 122, which is okay. I think it's stomach. The results were really poor. And the X stats to back it right? Even worse. 260 batting average, 276 X, 515 slug, 487 X, 342 WOBA, 331 X. All these things are worse than average. And Wobacon and expected Wobacon both over that benchmark for bad of 400. So that's not good. He kept the walks down. First strike, good. Couldn't induce chases. Elevation basket was good. 47 on the ground, 33 in the air. But again, the contact metrics were very poor. When he was hit very hard. 47% hard hit but via StatCast, 11% barrel. EV on the fly balls, 95.1. Anybody that follows Cork Stats, bets FTN daily with me, knows I was pointing that out, that elevated fly ball rate was a major problem. We were getting paid betting against Chris Paddock all offseason. However, the word is the sheriff walked into the saloon, kicked those double doors open, and made some corrections. So again, I want to play with some upside, but I do like the context as well. I did say I was worried about the West, but you can't let that stuff totally kill you. The West, the ballparks are still pretty good. So he is on one of those favorite teams. Paddock at Dodgers, I say. Paddock at Dodgers. Not sure if he's a favorite. Going to depend who's else on the mound. So now we're up with a chance at Paddock, who I think has a chance of returning SP1 with that small correction. And without that small set last year, I think he'd be going there. So that's what we're going. It's Corbin Burns. It's Chris Paddock. It's Edwin Diaz to go with Mondesi, J. Ram, Kyle Tucker, and Jose Altuve. Needless to say, I really like this squad already. Definitely pretty happy with the balance and the way things are going. Don't want to sit back on my laurels, though, because I built with balance, I do feel like the path now is mine to choose. And it's funny, even with a specialty player like Mondesi, I don't feel like I'm hamstrung. I could use some home runs right now, but that's what's available. It's very hard to get through the first 6 rounds and not need anything, right? So staying calm, staying within myself. I know I have some assigned risk, but everyone's healthy right now. To me, that's number one. They all produce when they're on the field. I don't know how to predict injuries. And if you know how to, DM me, send some PayPal your way. I'm looking at the board. I see one of my favorite players here in Matt Chapman. I absolutely love him. I think he's going too late. The market should adjust him. But I have Ramirez. But I'm not afraid of filling CI. But it can be deep, right? There's that draft day questioning. I think because I have Ramirez, I might have to let him go as much as I like him and let someone else get him, right, people? We see our guys, but I don't think just that's enough. Looking at the player pool, let's chop it into U, T, and P. To get an idea, I'm kind of leaning that I either need home runs or I'd like to continue stacking pitching. Pitching, it's weird. I don't know if there's cliffs. It's a steady decline with some steep cliffs. And then, a couple of places maybe to get your footing. Pitchers I'm referring to, again, no states. There's no secrets here, people. I'm just letting it all out. You're going to hang with the big guy. You're going to hang with me the whole time. I got your back. I really like Wheeler. Again, he does everything. Not much to wish for with him. It's like, the knock for strikeouts, but I would argue he's one of the guys that #expand the denominator, where they might make the total by going further every single game. If he goes 7 1/3 and strikes out K, and gets 6 Ks, and 7 1/3, the K through 9 doesn't look so fantastic. Not nearly as exciting as Eliezer Hernandez might strike out. He might even strike out 7 in 4 2/3, right? But you don't get any distance, so he could do it for you there. My boring guy is actually Pablo Lopez. ADP 120. We're sneaking up to 110. Pitching is kind of falling. There are some interesting names here, guys that I don't have. But, man, I wonder if Luzardo is a bit risky. I believe he's looked phenomenal so far this spring. I really got to check that out. I don't like to overreact to spring stuff. But, it probably would give us an idea if he's at least feeling good, if they're letting him go out there and throw pitches, silly as it sounds. Right, that's the first part of playing baseball, I guess, is actually picking up the ball, right? Putting on the glove and actually playing. So let's take a look. How's our boy doing? I don't know. It doesn't look good. He's not near the top. He's not near the top of the ERA list. He's near the bottom, We have 2 games. We have 6 innings. We have 5 earned runs, a home run, 8 Ks, 3 walks. He's kind of laboring. I mean, I don't want to let that totally sway me, but he's not really somebody I love. Joe Musgrove just went at 108. Giancarlo Stanton went at 107. I'm seeing people take their guy, so I'm going to take my guy. My guy's there goes Wheeler. So, okay, now I really don't have to pull my hair out. I don't feel like I have to apologize as much. I thought I might have taken heat for taking Pablo Lopez over Wheeler. I was also maybe looking at Bundy, but I don't have a definitive opinion on him, and I don't want to overreact to him. He was really good, and then it fell off. That doesn't mean he's not going to. He made the move to a new place. My problem with Bundy, there's been a couple things. He just doesn't get ahead of people, and the line drive rate is through the roof. So I'm going to go with what I said. I'm going to stick to my plan. I'm going to keep building. I'm going with my man Pablo Lopez. I love the Marlins. I basically love everything about them. I'm going in front of Zach Greinke for this, but I'm okay with that. I've been fading Greinke, and I've lost. But for me, that's too much of a setup to get whipsawed if I don't. So we're drafting Lopez to tack him on to Burns, Diaz, Paddock. So I'm feeling pretty strong. I've got contacts, I've got ratios, I've got saves, and hopefully I have wins coming. I've got infielders, second, shortstop, and third, which really makes me feel very, very comfortable. We're beyond pick 100, which is usually when I start to look at catchers, hoping Sal Perez is there. He's gone. I don't know if I'm ready to go with Wilson Contreras. I really don't know about that, because I'm fading these NL catchers in general. And the next thought is really Grandal, but batting average is a thing, and I've really been trying, strict about it, and I just don't see him batting over 245. Projections have him at 230, which is probably closer to what's going to happen. So catcher, I'm going to let it go. My early catcher people, I didn't forget you, right? I mentioned it. I'm kicking the tires, people. I'm kicking the tires. Somebody that I do like is Christian Vasquez. I wonder if he would fall. I think I would wait for Grandal to go. I don't want to have to feel like I have to reach it, because I could always kick back to Murphy, maybe, or then go with my deep catcher plan. Something in this game, you certainly have to have a deep catcher plan. And listen, people, I understand the relative comparative stuff. I do, but man, they got to get those plate appearances, and they have to produce. And if you get if you don't get it, then I feel like you're really hurting, because you passed on big potential. So Big Daddy probably needs an outfielder. Man, I see Buxton, I see Pham, I see Smith. I like Verdugo. My guy in this range is Razor Ramon Laureano, but I know he's dinged up. So let's take a quick look, man. I'm gonna just look at my boy Razor Ramon. If he falls, he's the kind of guy I put to the top, because I think the batting average is there. Again, not to keep quoting these Cork Stats episodes, but the information is so good. Like I'm letting smart people talk. Me being dumb, trying to get smart, ask smart people good questions, or I hope are good questions, because at very least I got good answers. So if anything, I'm a stupid guy that gets good guests, right? So we talked about Ramon Laureano, and in fact, I thought the conversation was so interesting that I brought him up a few times. I brought him up with Russell Carlton in stabilization, and Derek with projections, and then Rudy again with a combination of the two. Wondering why somebody like Ramon Laureano is projected so low when his batting average is so high. So the manager, Bob Melvin, told reporters on Saturday he could return to games on Monday. He experienced pain in his left side, should be fine. He said it's going to be okay early next week. They did the MRI, and it looks like it's no big deal, right? He's avoided any kind of serious injury. So at this point, I like to be risk averse, but I think we can go that way. I love what the bad guy can give you. And I think we'd have to grab him here. I see Will Myers there. I'm not a big fan. Edmund doesn't do enough with the stick for me. I do like Verdugo. I think the steals were a mirage. So I think you're getting average. I think you're getting runs. If I didn't have those things, I'd be okay with Verdugo here. I do circle him, people. Kyle Lewis, maybe close runner-up. If Ramon goes, maybe I'll just YOLO ball this biatch again and go with Kyle Lewis. I think he's going to be good. There are a couple holes, and I don't think he's going to be great, but I do think I do think that he can be very good. And again, this game, it's really important for me to get balance. Those steals come with a cost later on, and guys that can just run. It doesn't happen that often. Guys that run at least give you some. I didn't mean, maybe I shouldn't peg Lewis like some kind of speedster. That really wasn't my intention. But projections have him near 8. I think you could get more than that. He's still 5 in the short set. So I think at the very least, double digits are not out of the question, Back to the board. Sorry, I got squirreled. There. Kyle Lewis, right? Kyle Lewis. I didn't mean to peg him as a speedster, but I think double digits are in the cards. I would imagine the projection systems are low on the OBP, and they don't think the opportunities will be there. So maybe my argument is if he gets closer to like a 250, 260, that extra OBP is the extra opportunities maybe that he needs. They're also anticipating the walk rate to come down, which I think it will from 14, but I wouldn't be surprised if we get, the double-digit walk rates we've seen in his career in the past. Discipline, again, something I think that can carry over. So I'm going to put Lewis in the queue. He's already there. And move it back. I still like Razor Ramon over him. We have 2 picks to go. So you could be done shopping here. But just to be certain, I like to make sure no one that we really, really, really love has fallen. Funny, Framber Valdez. Sorry to hear about that injury. You don't have to scratch him off totally. He might be okay to pitch, but you cannot take him here. He's a guy I would have liked here, I think. No pitchers for me, really. No saves that I want to get down on. I like Sixto Sanchez. I don't want to OD on the Marlins, which I kind of probably already have this draft season. So I'm up. Tommy Pham went. Someone had the same kind of thing that I did. The balance. I'm going to go that Razor Ramon is going to be okay. There's also been whispers, he's going to hit maybe leadoff, maybe 2, maybe 3. So I like Ramon, the bad guy with the toothpick, drafted him, added him to the squad. And I think, he kind of represents a lot of what I've been trying to do is a lot of balance here. Excuse me just a second. All right, we're back. Thank you very much. Back to the balance. So you figure I'm 12 picks away. A little bit soon to be overreacting, but now is when these kind of short turns, right, the short side wheels, is when we're hoping for guys to fall, right? Those guys that were in our queue previously to slip and fall. So maybe here a guy like Bundy. So if Bundy falls ADP 107, if he gets back to 142, I could add him to the rotation. Same for Lewis. I think one or all these guys will go. I mentioned Sanchez, so we're going to queue him up. There's a lot of there. You're going to get strikeouts. I think you're going to get a little bit of everything. The people I think are low on the Marlins, and as soon as they come out and start doing their thing and winning games every day, that's the futures bet. I think you're going to see move. A lot of them don't move. That's what I think you will see move because pitching moves the needle for me. All right, back to check the catchers. Really, just not in love. Although I want to mention Vasquez, and that's a good way to build a queue, people, as we're, expressing our curiosities and making our way around the board, picking up guys that we know that we really like. First base, the best guys have gone. I'm going to have to decide who I like. I have always had a big soft spot for Trey Mancini, and given it really wasn't an injury, it was an illness, and he's made a full recovery, and I think he's really good. So, it's a motivating story. It doesn't seem like it's knocked him down. He's going to be the easiest guy to cheer for. And, obviously it's not what we're looking for, but those things do kind of exist. He's playing pretty much every day in the spring, right? What we like to see. Batting .323. Got a bomb, couple ribs. Struck out a bunch of times so far. But, strikeouts are something that you do always look at. I don't want to paper over anything. That's not my style. I hate when other people do that. I hate strikeouts, and some guys striking out. But I don't worry when I worry about it, when it's my turn to worry. No, I do. Mancini's still a player that I really like that, had he not had the injury and missed that little bit of time, he's probably going quite a bit earlier. Think back to that 2019, 35 homers, bat 290. So the power, we were 106 runs, 97 ribbies. So the power we were looking for is not even empty power. Granted, he doesn't steal, and I generally don't like to take guys that don't steal, but I have J-Ram and Mondesi and Tucker. So, right, there are cases when that would be okay. I'm going to make an exception for him. I'm also going to hope, because I sopped up so much of those early steals, that he might fall to me. And that would be big. I would like Mancini. Plus, what do we know about Mancini also is that multi-eligibility that I mentioned before, always so important, right? Always so important. Can't ever forget. He's at first and outfield, which is a nice combo, of course, to mix some to be mixing players up and being able to get into that CI spot that I mentioned before. I probably wouldn't have him to start there, but you never know what's going to happen. Injuries, baseball is it's a crazy, crazy, crazy sport. It's really hard to predict. So, of course, that's why I try and make a living doing that. All right, I had Mancini at the 3. Mancini versus Lewis is kind of a tough one for me. Man, I think Mancini with the higher average and Lewis without the promise for the top steals that I need. I think I'm going to put Mancini first. So I'm going to go Mancini, Lewis, Vasquez. But people, here's another great example. This is one of the stuff I was hoping to get at when I decided to kind of do this craziness and live stream at this draft, was get myself in these trouble spots, or at least show people where they can get into trouble spots. So I'm 5 picks away. I have 3 people I really like, and I'm kind of like meh on the rest. What if your guys go bang, bang, bang? So be diligent. Keep going. I'm going to keep adding to the queue. I need at least 2 guys, or at least I need to add 2 guys until the rest of the league starts picking faster, So like that matters. I like Bryant at 3rd, but I really like Urshela also. So I've kind of been coming back for him, and I like Dozier downrange. I also like Candelario for 3rd. So there's a lot of CI guys I like. And remember, people building backwards is this thing. So there's a couple things going on at once. Me wanting to fill a queue, but being careful of filling it with position players of stuff that I think I could get later. And that's where Mancini's so great. I could put him at first. And if I find those guys, I can move him to the outfield or vice versa. I can put him at outfield right now and I feel like, okay, I still have 3 outfielders and not 2, where CI not being filled at the 10th round is not a big deal. So there's a couple of, thought exercises going on. All right, Grandal went, which kind of answers my question, I think. Oh, I already had Vasquez, derp. So I got 3 players for 4 spots. Let me find somebody I really like in a worst case. Remember, you hate to feel like you're getting stuck with picks, but this is life. If my 3 guys were to just get picked, bang, 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 right now, I have to have somebody. So even if you might feel like you got stuck, I don't know. Don't let it get you down. Be vigilant in the decision. So back to that process, I mentioned guys that I like, and I like Verdugo. I had him on the outside. I'm going to add him. And as I add him, I got rewarded, and Jorge Soler, got picked. Then Chris Bryant, who I just mentioned, got picked. And now I have a full queue. I always am going to opt to pass on the catcher, or am I, people? Like I said, I want to be different, but only so different. So I'm going to put Vasquez in front of Lewis. If Mancini gets sniped, I'm going to go with the catcher in the 10th, something a little bit out of character. If not, I'm going to take my position player and hope that the catcher falls. That feels fair enough for my catcher people out there. I hope, I hope it's okay. I get your approval, but I am going to be asking for some analysts maybe to beat me up on this one. I'm going to bring them onto the show, hopefully, and see what happens. So that'll be cool. I'm on the clock. Kyle Lewis went. That's funny. I'm going to go Mancini. There's my, I feel like I just picked up 30 to mid-30s power, a guy I don't feel like is going to be affected by the ball, and he's going to see plenty of bad pitching in plenty of good parks. So there's a little thought process for you. Guys are going to check the boxes all the way down. He's got the skill level. You're buying low. You're buying into the narrative. You're buying into the story, and the context is good. Front of the lineup, for me, like, that's all systems go. And later on, we'll be looking at that Baltimore outfield. Remember, people, no ads. So handcuffing is huge. Building around the player is huge. Speaking of which, Anthony Santander just went. So I feel like I made the right choice. I think that player would have went with Mancini. We got 11 picks away. And the draft is starting to hustle a little bit, which is always fun. But, this is a major commitment, this thing. Again, I don't know how far I'm going to make it. Okay, guys that I like on the board. I like Tyler Mahle. You're going on the list. A couple of new additions. It can be tough to pitch in that ballpark, but the competition is kind of low. And I think we saw some changes that, man, they really might tend to kind of stick. And a couple of really smart people are on him too. I haven't done the deep dive on Molly personally. I just know that he checks like so many boxes for me. It's bananas, really. Let me bring up some stuff here. So by Eno Saris's Command Plus metric, he's at 114. That's got to be the top like 5% of the league. He had a 3.25 ERA last year, 113 WHIP, 4.09 Sierra to kind of validate that. The BABIP was low at 257, something you always got to be careful of. You know, BABIP, something that does tend to kind of revert or regress, but the strikeout rate was up over 29. He was just the best version of himself. Excellent. Walk rate up near 10, which is kind of mad, but when the K-minus walk is 20 and you hit that benchmark, it's hard to really punish guys too much. My beef with Molly has always been the elevation basket. You know, it's too many fly balls, but he limits exit velocity on them, and the heart rate is low and the barrel rate is low. So for the fly balls, I wonder if he's somebody that might benefit from the dead end ball. Maybe even more of those fly balls are fly outs. So that would be, you know, that would be big for him. So I've at Vasquez. I said I'm going to take him because I want those PAs. I want the plus catcher. If Vasquez falls, I can deal with the pitching later. If not, I'm going to go with Molly right now. Let me circle back to outfield. Solak is one of the guys, man, I don't know if Gallo is a little too, Gallo might be a little too YOLO for me. I have exposure to Gallo in OBP leagues and point leagues, so I think I'm kind of full there. The player I really like here is Jared Kelnick. I think the upside is just tremendous, and I think in a format like this, you're investing in a player for a whole year. Man, I'm tempted to even get him. I'm gonna put him above Molly, but not above Vasquez. I'm not gonna go that far. Kelnick is gonna have to fall to 170 for me to make the investment. Let me just circle back to the catchers to see if I can validate that. I don't know if I like Murphy as much as like Vasquez. You know, Vasquez is gonna chip in a couple steals and like play every day, and the order in the lineup is really good. So no, I'm gonna give Vasquez the nod if it gets me. I've got 3 players for 3 spots. Again, there's that exercise of, you know, wanting to just be like ready, you know. Okay, people. Picks being made. Now we're going to see if those people are actually listening to my actually listening to the stream. If I get picked 1, 2, 3, I'm signing out, people. No, I'm just kidding. I promised I was going to do this and give my home leaguers like a look into the mind of how this thing goes, because, you know, they're like, oh, it just seems intimidating. I don't mean to make fun of them, although I can, because that's real love where I come from. You don't love somebody if you don't make fun of them. Be careful if I'm too nice to you. It means I might not like you, man. And if I don't pay your time of day, that's a sure sign. So people out there, when I roll you, you know, if someone's busting your chops, busting your balls, for me, your best bet is to thicken your skin. Christian Vasquez goes in front of me. I'm telling you, man, I got a listener. Go ahead, man. Keep typing. I love it, baby. I'm not going to call you out. I love it. I love it. I'm doing it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So I'm going to see if I can beat my own style. I'm jumping. I'm jumping for Kelnick. I'm just going to take a quick scan. You know, I like the build. I feel like I have a little flexibility, and I'm going to kind of draft from behind the 8 ball from the rest of the way out, because you have to draft him and you have to stick him in the reserve hole, right? That's how you look at him. He's a luxury item. So let's get this Jared Kelnick, 159, Clay Link, looking at you, kid. Yeah, baby. All right. Loving that pick. But like I said, I'm going to move him from the outfield over to the reserve, because you can't consider him for opening day, and that's where we have to focus. I just know that I'm going to stomach that investment. There goes Tyler Molly, maybe someone else listening to the stream. There he is. I'm doing the chalk. I don't care, man. I don't even look at how many people are watching. It's just never been my style. It's not how I roll. I'm not into that stuff. I don't do stuff for glitz and glamour, you know. It's just not something I care about at all. I don't even look at the board. I want to more often, because I want to be into the chat, because sometimes people ask good questions, but it can be really hard to kind of balance all this stuff. But, you know, I'm doing my best, which was funny, right? There's a little bowl, something I totally believe in, you know what I'm always doing. Someone getting distracted by the internet machine. I want to just put out again. Oh, look, breaking news, people. Ding, 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 ding. Bobby Witt goes to the minor leagues. Well, I mean, I'm not surprised, although I'm kind of lying, because if my home league draft was going on, I probably would have drafted him. I wonder if that'll drop his ADP today. I wonder how many people are actually watching. I guess we're going to find out. Really cool stuff. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Retweeting again. We are live on the YouTube. Here we go, people. What's going on? Didi Gregorius, Gary Sanchez, after Molly, plus Gonzalez. All right, a little bit of what I might expect. I always like to see players go that I don't want. Gary Sanchez is like an absolute no for me. Gallo went after Kelnick. I know Gallo's been like the best version of himself, but I don't know if I'm ready to go there yet. I'd just much rather take that leap of faith when he's getting, rewarded for the on-base stuff, which he's so very good at. But he is batting .310 in the spring, 5 homers already. He's just on total fire, so I get it. I do. Oh, man, I got an alert for another draft. So I'm multi-drafting while I'm streaming and trying to win this overall, so no rest for the weary. But it's kind of point leagues, and I was ready. Listen, it's really one of my claims to fame, right? I was ready. So I had the queue chewed up already before I went on. Boom, queue's ready. That pick is made. No worries. Again, call me when you need me. My grandfather used to say to me, rest in peace. Don't call me. I'll call you, everybody. So we're in the front half of the 12th round. Marco Gonzalez, Gio Urshela, Nick Solak, Aaron Savali. So that feels like not like a reach for Savali. If I say that word, I mean reach relative to ADP. I'm not calling out anybody. I just took Jared Kelnick. I took Alberto Mondesi at the 18 or whatever. So I'm not calling out anybody. I mean relative to ADP. So we're saying relative to the market. I think he went first, but right now is that time. The practice is over. The test is here. You want that guy, and you don't think he's gonna be back. You go get it, and you can worry about explaining to other people why you did what you did at another time. Who cares? Man, Clint Frazier's there. I love Clint Frazier. But of course, the worry is if he's going to play every day, right? I mean, I guess I should know. I really haven't checked much of the Yankees this spring. I really don't care much for spring. I'm more worried. I kind of do the news and the note thing for the spring. I would just want to see fastball velocity and who's healthy and stuff like that. That's more me. You got Frazier cleaning up when he's playing or in the 8 hole. Oh, that's a tough one, right? That's kind of what we were worried about, and he hasn't played in a couple days. Oh, man. Making raspberries, people. This time in the draft, it's too early to be blowing raspberries. So for me, I have my answer on Clint Frazier. I'm either going to have to miss the boat or deal with it. Player that I do like, man, we're up in 2 picks already, really just flying. I really like Andrew McCutchen. He does a bit of everything. I think you're going to get the average back also. So that's a player I have circled. I am on the clock. Let's just do a quick scan. McCutchen, I feel, fits in any lineup. I want to make sure I didn't leave any pitchers that I love on the board. Man, Soroka's kind of interesting, but with Kelnick and already having a player that I can't start day one, I think I'm going to really, not to say I'm going to go back to being uber conservative back to where I was, but I took my early risk already. Let's make sure I'm locking in floor, right? We have to make sure that we need those things. Saves would be cool to get, but column A may split. I don't really trust the Twins. And Rodriguez in Pittsburgh really could get dealt as good as he is. I guess he's a consideration, but I would want to see it first. Corey Kluber the same. Again, I want to see it from Kluber first. I'm not sure we're getting that 2018 version. So the clock's winding down. I got McCutchen queued. That's a guy going. It's Andrew McCutchen for me. So it's Tucker, Laureano, and McCutchen. Again, people, I have an expectation for 265, 270 plus batting averages. I have an expectation to hit in the top half of the lineup. I have an expectation for 20 home runs. I have an expectation for maybe even, 18 to 20 steals, maybe more. And that's just the outfield. Infield too, same thing. Although, Altuve, less power, Mancini, more power, those guys, less steals. Mondesi, less power, more steals. So my infield is a little more diverse as far as contributions. And my outfield, I'm trying to go kind of 5 cats all the way across the board. Let's take a quick stop and kind of promote what's going on. Big thanks to my dudes at FTN. That's Fade the Noise. Everybody right now, FTNFantasy.com. The draft kit is 90% free. I'm working on pitching deep dives. They're crazy. I just understand. I understand you're not wanting to pay. I get it. People don't want to pay for this stuff. I get it. So I don't want you to pay, but it is kind of how the world works. And, I feed my family also. So I think it's my duty in that case. I should say my duty in that case is to bring the heat, to bring the fire, and make people want to pay for it. Provide a tool that's worth paying for. So that's what I'm doing with this pitching stuff. It's like crazy. It's everything. And that is even pretty cheap. It's $25 for the whole year. And I think if you put in the promo code MLBMA, MLB Moving Averages, you get some buckage off, a couple percentage points off. So like that's cool. Hold on just a second. So, that's a pretty reasonable price point, but again, I understand if not. So look out for that at ftnfantasy.com. My free draft kit, all the positions, sleepers and busts, fades in every round. Each one comes with a supplemental audio podcast. I was bringing that smoke this offseason. All right, back to this draft board that people are trying to get into, right? I think I want to look at catchers again. I'm 9 picks away. Let's start filling that queue. I had mentioned Sean Murphy, who's probably one of the last guys that has a stab at that kind of those everyday at bats, because he's in the American League, and he's a plus offensive guy. He's pretty a highly talented prospect, if I'm not mistaken, and I don't think we've seen maybe the best of him yet. Yeah, Murphy's played the last couple of days, and every other day he's getting back in the lineup, and he was hitting 6th, it looks like. So yeah, we'll take that. You're going to hit 6 for the A's. You still got to consider that like a plus, a plus position. I'm going to get sniped again. Before the guy sniped me, we catch it once, snipes again. Come at me, bro. Man, get off my back, will you? Get off my back, kid. Yeah, if not, we'll miss. I'll punt back. I like guys like Ramos, right? He's going to get some PAs. Detroit kind of stinks, and he can hit a little bit. So, they're there. They're there. I would have liked to get it earlier. I would have loved Perez if he fell, and he didn't. And, I can't force the draft board. I'm also not going to overreact. I love the players I got. Just a quick recap. My infield is full, minus the catcher. I don't have a corner or middle, which, is fine. We're only in round 13. I have 3 of my 5 outfielders. I have 3 starters and a closer. So as you can kind of see, even in my, I'm going to YOLO this, I'm going to go crazy. Like I always kind of have a balanced build by position and also hopefully by category. I want to win this thing. I'm not just trying to be funny and put on an act. I am trying to entertain you, and hopefully you laugh and even maybe learn something. That's part of what goes on here. I like all that. Man, if I didn't have Kelnick, I'm telling you, I would really like that Soroka pick, because he's throwing, and I think he's going to be fine, and I think he's really good. So I think his ratios and stuff like that. I got to be cognizant of strikeouts, but I haven't gone it yet. I don't really have the balance guy. So I think I could get one. Guy I love, Zach Altuve, man, the back. I can't go there right now, because until he's throwing or he comes at a crazy discount, I think we have to let him pass. Guy I really love, Marcus Stroman. If I also like Keuchel. I know a lot of people probably look at me. What about Jordan Montgomery, my New York Yankees? Listen, I love the pinstripers, but I think you're overpaying for it. We haven't seen enough of it for me. I'm not going there just yet. He never seems to fall. All right. Sorry about the draft him again. I'm 3 picks away, and I've got 3 players. It looks like I'm going to get one of them, which is really good. Again, I like to do the scan and make sure I didn't leave anybody. Man, I really actually like Benintendi where he's fallen, but I'll let him see if he actually falls, because maybe 6 or 7 outfielders in front of him. I'm going to say I've got Murphy, Stroman, and Keuchel. The idea being I'm either going to hit those catchers and get the PAs there, or I'm going to get some nice ratios and hopefully a lot of innings pitched on a winning team and get all the categories. I don't understand they're not crazy strikeout guys, though Stroman has got some wicked stuff brewing right now. You're going to take him right now, aren't you? If you take Marcus Stroman, I'm going to do a backflip right now. I should end the stream. Take him. Go ahead, take him. No, he didn't. Jordan Hicks went. So, man, I almost talked myself into wanting Stroman so bad. Like, man, people, sometimes that's a real feeling, and you mention a guy and he goes. But you know what? I see David Price there also. So I'm going to lock up my catcher, and I'm going to wait for the pitcher. Murphy locked up. I got to see one. I really like that. It's a very solid thing to have. Props to guys like Rob DP and my boy Toby G. Bat flip crazy. quick bowl spinning on Toby. I often say he's one of my favorite analysts because I disagree with him so much. And actually, people, it's funny, not people will be mad, but Toby has a cool following and people are into it. And I find it's probably because of his nature. He's engaging, so people that listen to him are engaging and want to learn. So I didn't mean hope that didn't get framed improperly, but so people kind of wondering like, oh, like what do you mean you disagree with him? Or maybe it was more, wow, where do you two disagree? I'm curious. So let's take it through that lens. And I was saying, catcher being one of the places. Toby's an early catcher guy, and that's fine. I understand all the arguments. I think the argument for JTR is sailed because I think it's predicated on steals, and I don't think you're going to get them with a hand injury. That's my long story short on him. But that's not to kill the idea of catchers early. I have learned from him. My strategy of trying to get them later on, and not to be arrogant, not saying, oh, I find catchers pick 400 and they're C1. I'm more like I look for catcher like C16 through 19 or 13 through 19, hoping the two of them will be 11 and 12 or, 9 and 13. That they're serviceable and make sense and finish around guys that were going 200 picks earlier, which you can't complain about. Also, I find people that pay for catchers are not in the market for them. And this matters because when a decent catcher pops up, the demand is not that great. Particularly if you don't have them and you're looking for it early, you can jump on them early. Last year it was Pedro Severino in the Orioles. I jumped on him and that kind of stuck. So that was cool. Man, this has been an experience, people. Thank you for picking up what I'm putting down. We're through 13 rounds. I don't know anyone that's ever really done this before. It's going to jump in the chair and do one of these. I don't think I'm going to make it the whole way. I do have a family, but I try and be a husband and a dad whenever I can. Sunday afternoon is usually those times. But like I said, I had a whole to-do with a friend of mine, and I always make good of my word. So I talk some smack, and now I'm sitting in the chair backing it up right now. I see you, dude. I know you're listening too, so I'm talking to you right now. I don't feel alone. Guy I like that I hadn't really mentioned it was actually David Price. Right, I was fading him with I felt for good reason because we hadn't seen anything. Wanted to know what was going on. Dude's got tons of miles on the tires, and he didn't know what was going to happen. He's hasn't pitched in so long, and we came back and he looks really good. 6 2/3. I see 2 earned runs. So that's a 2.7 ERA, 1.5 WHIP. He walked 2 and 2 hits, but 4 strikeouts. So he's been pretty good. And I think coming back, I almost think like as long as he's okay, like health-wise, I think you go forward with David Price. Like he's going to get better as this goes on, as he gets everything underneath him and starts to smooth his stuff out. Like he's going to get it going. All right, Kyle went, so I'm down to Stroman. So I need to get Price in there anyway. 4 picks away. I got 2 in the queue. So we know anything. I meant, you know what? I had mentioned Rodriguez, right? I'm going to stick with that style. Guys that I mentioned, the ratios are high. The saves are there. Listen, if he gets traded, hopefully the ratios will still be there. I understand he's not going to get traded somewhere where he's going to go and be the closer. But, man, maybe he Shane Greens for me. Maybe he pops out of the gate and, with a bunch of saves. And that's the thing that'll get you to the overall. Those can be tough to make up because, again, you can't add. No one can really see where the reliever market is going to go. Although, there goes that idea because I'm 2 away with 2 to go. For me, it's either Stroman or Price. Really excited to add them to this rotation because I could use some floor. It was Benintendi that went, so we're going to go Stroman because he's just looked absolutely phenomenal. Right? If I'm not mistaken, Marcus Stroman has just been like incredible. He's been looking sharp. He's got all the analytic stuff working in the offseason. Like really, really, really excited. Really excited for Stroman. Yeah, he's been going too, I guess, because he didn't throw last year. So Stroman's got 13 innings already under his belt. He got 14 Ks. I mean, he gives you an inning, a K per inning throughout the season, man. You're getting way beyond what you expected for Stroman. He's one of those guys that also #expands the denominator. So he could make it up with distance. So if he gets it as a rate, yeah, he's going to be like nothing short of fantastic. So really glad to get Stroman. Add him to that rotation, which is now Corbin Burns, Chris Paddock, Pablo Lopez, Marcus Stroman, with Edwin Diaz slamming the door. Really digging this. Tucker, Laureano, McCutchen in the outfield. Batting average snobs come at me. I mean, you know where I'm going to say that I think they're going to outperform the projections. I think what we saw, the big line drive rates, and they were all pretty fast. You know, I think they're going to be fine. Talking about Laureano, even McCutchen to an extent. Infield is Ramirez, Mondesi, Altuve, and Mancini. And, of course, my phone is blowing up right now. I'm missing calls, and it's my parents. Okay, so that's probably the end of my bet with my buddy. I'm going to try and get us through a little bit more. I think I got a few minutes, but I'm going to have to take care of this. Yeah, people know, personal first and family first. How long did this even go, man? Before I submit this bad boy to ESPN or whatever. We're at 1 hour and 20 minutes. Oh, look, there's one eyeball on me. One eyeball. Who are you? Put your name. I'm going to call you out as you're the greatest person ever. Before we go. Andrew Vaughn goes. That was a big pick. Somebody I mentioned before as a CI pop. David Price went right after Stroman. There's my listener again. And so did Richard Rodriguez. Oh, my goodness, people. Come on. Either too good to be true. The market's really sharp. Maybe I just know what I'm doing. Okay, we have our catcher. I don't really think we have to go back there. I was into Posey a little bit, but I think we can come back. I'm eyeballing like a Ramos Lee or, maybe again a Narvaez even after that. Let's look CIMI. I really like Josh Donaldson. I know people are worried about the health. I also like Austin Riley. He made some disciplinary kind of improvements. So with that, a lot of times can come batting average improvements also. I mean, batting average is kind of wonky, but this guy is smoking the ball. He's definitely good for that. The strikeouts, of course, that was the real major concern. I want to take a peep at these splits if I can. Yeah, I mean, he struck out 30% of the time in the first half, dropped it to 20. A guy like him at 20% strikeout rate is a much better player than where he's going. He hit 293 in the minor leagues with a 20% K rate. So I think I'm going to queue up. Him. Again, I've assumed some risk already, so I want to be careful. As much as I like Donaldson, I think I like Donaldson apple to apples better than I like Riley. But I think Riley might be just a bit more durable, I'd feel good about Donaldson, too, if there was a chance for him to, DH at all. But with Nelly Cruz there, I just don't think that can happen whatsoever. So I'm going to queue him up, although, like I said, I mentioned Donaldson, so we'll queue him. After Riley, they both might go. Let's hop over to middle infield. Someplace probably sooner rather than later. I want to think about filling. I like Chris Taylor. You got a lot of everything. People are trying to get me concerned about playing time. I'm not there yet. You know what I really love? This is a jump by ADP, and I don't care. And I'm going to be that guy. It's Colton Wong with the move to Milwaukee. That's what I want as my middle. So if my third baseman go, I'm going to hope that Wong being buried down there will kind of bury him down there and people will forget about him. And I think after this pick, I think I'm going to have to get out of here. So on my way out the door, everybody, I really want to thank you for sticking around. I had just time of my life. It's so much fun. I love to get on and do it. I have to finish this draft. I'm going to have to set a queue because my life kind of comes at me fast. I like the idea of the afternoon because I wanted to broadcast. And again, like I said, somebody said I couldn't do it. So I'm here. I hope I did a good job. And I hope everybody learned something. Like I said, I really pulled the curtain. I didn't hold anything back. It's a little more subjective stuff because, again, trying to do analysis while the draft is going on is very difficult. I think that might be the big lesson, right? Let's leave on that lesson. That for all the stuff we may have learned about players and positioning and playing ADP and going about these things, the real lesson before I get out of here, I think, is have your work done before, right? How many times already today have I mentioned being prepared, right? This didn't bother me because I was prepared. This didn't bother me because I was prepared. So that's the big impart for me. Like I said, I mentioned Taylor. Austin Riley just went. Somebody's listening. So that leaves Donaldson and Wong. I'm going to go with the reliability of Wong, even though he could probably fall. I'm not in the business of ADP chicken, and it's because I have a reason. Not a tough guy thing, right? I like CIs later. If all my work, I like Bobby Dahlbeck, and CJ Cron could be fine, as well as Heimer Candelario, and I like Hunter Dozier. So there's plenty of CIs to go around. Plus, I also have Mancini that could get swapped to the outfield. Remember the benefit of those multiple L guys, the multiple eligibility guys. So we're 3 players away. I got 3 players in my queue. I just want to check the pitchers really quick to see if there's anybody I love. I do like Tyon, but this is probably where we should be going, but I'm not ready to go there. Again, the durability thing. I spent some risk. I spent some risk. So I want to be a little more grounded. So I think that's important. So that's going to be a thing for me now. I'm going to be grounded going forward. Next. Eliezer Hernandez went, who I really like on a permanent basis. Another Marlin. Like I said, loving those guys. So I'll be out of here after this one pick. For me, I think it's either Donaldson or it's Wong. Thank you for picking up what I was putting down. I really appreciate everybody. Remember, sign on FTNFantasy.com. Ton of free stuff. Free. And it's for me. I'm on underdog playing these best balls, trying to take it home. And with my last pick in the 15th, I got Colton Wong, and I could not be happier with this team. Before I go, maybe give you a landscape if you were looking for a tutorial on DCs. So I'm missing a C. I know I picked the ones that you like, work them into your plan. I'm already at the point where I'm filling out the rest of my starters. Figure out the guys you like and forget ADP and put them on a list and start taking them in order, okay? That's it. Find the guys you think you need to win. Make a list of the ideal team, your ideal team, and fulfill it the best that you can. So from the bottom of my big, warm, and fuzzy heart, everybody, thank you so much for hopping on with me. Take care. Enjoy your day. And, buddy, you win the bet, okay? You win. You know what? I'm going to do this the right way. I feel like it's a technicality. But you win the bet. You were right. I wasn't able to do the whole thing. You win. You were the winner, and I'm the loser. You were right. I was wrong. You are very handsome. I am tough on the eyes. So I have to go take care of family stuff, everybody. Piggity, peace. So if you have any questions, you can hit me up on the Twitter machine anytime. MLB moving averages, baby. Big things coming.